Hi, everyone. Welcome to Living Wisdom and Dharma World. Today, we are going to explore the causes of illness. Most people would say it's because of germs, bad food, stress, or genetics, which might be the direct or indirect causes of illness. But if we go deeper, beyond the surface, could there be something much more subtle, something spiritual, something fundamental behind the origin of disease? Today, we'll explore this mystery through three great sources of wisdom. Florence Scovel Shinn's The Game of Life and How to Play It, the teachings of the Buddha, and the ancient Chinese medical classic, The Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon, the Huangdi Nijing. Together, they reveal something truly profound, that disease begins not in the body, but in the mind and the spirit. Florence Scovel Shinn, The Mind as the Creative Power. Florence Scovel Shinn, a metaphysical teacher from the early 20th century, taught that life is a perfect mirror. In her words, every disease is the crystallized thought in the flesh made visible through fear. She believed that thought is the builder, that every condition in our life, including illness, originates in the invisible world of our beliefs and emotions. She writes, "The body may be healed by casting out fear, resentment, and condemnation, and bringing in love, peace, and joy." To Shinn, healing begins not in medicine, but in consciousness. If we continually hold thoughts of fear, guilt, and anger, those energies eventually harden into the body. But if we fill the mind with harmony, forgiveness, and gratitude, our cells begin to vibrate with life and order. This is not superstition, it's a recognition that the human mind, like a magnet, shapes both the outer and inner worlds. The Buddha, Disease and the Roots of Suffering. Over 2,500 years before Florence Shinn, the Buddha spoke of a similar truth. He said in the verse 1 of Dhammapada, "Mind precedes all phenomena. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-made." In Buddhism, the true cause of suffering, including physical illness, is not the external condition itself, but ignorance, avidity, and craving ta. Because the mind clings to things, pleasure, identity, control, it becomes agitated, and this disharmony seeps into the body. The Buddha said in verse 2 of Dhammapada, "When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never departs." Illness, then, is not punishment, it is a teacher. It reveals where harmony has been lost, where our inner energies have become blocked by attachment, fear, or anger. In the Sayutta Nikaya, the Buddha compared the body to a chariot worn by time, subject to decay. But the mind, when trained, can transcend pain even in sickness. The connection between Shinn and the Buddha. Both Florence Scovel Shinn and the Buddha agree on one essential truth. Your inner world shapes your outer experience. Shinn calls it the law of attraction or the law of substitution. You must substitute fear with faith, resentment with forgiveness. The Buddha calls it right view and right thought, part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Florence wrote, "No man can attract prosperity when he despises it. No woman can attract health while seeing herself as sick." The Buddha taught the same principle in the Satipatthana Sutta. Mindfulness is the awareness that liberates us from identification with the body as me or mine. When we stop feeding the illusion of separation, our body naturally moves toward balance. So both point to this. Disease begins when we forget our true nature, when we separate from the universal life force, from compassion, from truth. The Buddha said in verse 5 of Dhammapada, "Hatred is never appeased by hatred. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased." Florence said, "Resentment is an unfulfilled desire and a disease of the soul. Forgive, and your body will forgive too." Both teach that healing starts with forgiveness of others, of ourselves, and of the past. The Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon, harmony between heaven, earth, and human. Now let's bring in the third voice, the Huangdi Nijing or Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon. Written over 2,000 years ago. It's not just a medical text, it's a profound philosophy of life. The Yellow Emperor asks his physician, Chibo, why people of ancient times lived over 100 years without disease, while people of his time fell ill easily. Chibo replied, "The people of ancient times followed the way of the Tao. They understood the laws of yin and yang, lived in harmony with the seasons, and balanced their emotions. Therefore, they were free from disease. But modern people," he said, "overuse their minds, exhaust their energy with desires, and live against the natural flow. That's why illness arises." In the Nijing, emotions are directly tied to the organs. Anger harms the liver. Joy in excess scatters the heart. Worry knots the spleen. Grief weakens the lungs. Fear sinks the kidneys. When emotions are unbalanced, the organs fall out of harmony and disease appears. This idea mirrors both Florence Scovel and the Buddha. The true origin of illness lies in the mind. Florence would call it the vibration of fear. The Buddha would call it ignorance and attachment. And the Yellow Emperor would call it disharmony with nature and emotion. All three point to the same truth. The mind and body are not separate. When we disturb the natural harmony of thought, feeling, and environment, the result is disease. Healing, returning to harmony. So, how do we heal? Florence Scovel Shinn would say, "Speak the word of truth and affirm the truth." She taught people to affirm, "I am one with the infinite life that heals and renews every cell of my being. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy." Through faith and positive declaration, she believed we command life energy back into order. She believed that spoken words are creative vibrations. They build the pattern that the body follows. Every word of faith is a medicine. The Buddha taught the same principle through mindfulness and compassion. When we observe our body and feelings without clinging, the energies begin to flow again. He said in Aguttara Nikaya 4.45, "In this very body, with its perception and mind, I declare the world, the origin of the world, and the cessation of the world." Through mindful awareness of the body, we can observe sensations without clinging or aversion. As tension is released, energy flows freely, and healing arises naturally. In this way, meditation becomes medicine, not by suppressing symptoms, but by harmonizing the mind that creates them. And the Yellow Emperor's Canon adds another dimension. Healing also means living according to nature. Eat with the seasons. Rise and rest with the sun. Keep the emotions steady like calm water. Chibo said, "To treat disease before it arises is the highest form of medicine." So true healing is not waiting for illness, it is preventive harmony, maintaining balance before imbalance even begins. Conclusion: the deeper truth. When we look at these three great teachings together, the message is crystal clear. The root cause of illness is the forgetting of harmony, the disconnection from truth, and the belief in fear more than love. Florence Scovel Shinn reminds us that thought creates reality, and life is a game. And the object of the game is not to fight, but to align with divine law, with love, with higher vibration. The Buddha teaches us that mind creates suffering or peace. The Buddha reminds us that life is dharma, and the path to freedom lies in right understanding, right mindfulness, and compassion. The Yellow Emperor reminds us that harmony sustains life. But when we live in trust, compassion, and awareness, we return to what all three teachers call the Tao, the Dharma, or divine law. Then healing becomes effortless. It's simply a return to what we already are, whole and alive. When we live in alignment with these truths, health becomes the natural state of being. In Florence's words, "There is no healing to be done, only truth to be revealed." And in the Buddha's in verse 204 of Dhammapada, "Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, trust the best of relationships, and nirvana the highest bliss." The real cause of disease is the forgetting of harmony, losing our balance between heaven, earth, and the mind. When we live in fear, resentment, or excess desire, we separate ourselves from the natural flow of life energy. As the Buddha said in Dhammapada, health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth. And as the Nijing teaches, when one's spirit is calm and stable, all diseases find no place to enter. So maybe the real question is not, how do I cure my disease? But how do I restore harmony in my mind, my heart, and my way of life? Because when the spirit returns to balance, the body simply follows. So may we remember our thoughts are seeds, our minds the garden, and our bodies the blossoms. Tend to your inner garden with love, forgiveness, and awareness, and watch the world around you bloom in health.